Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tran Thi Thu Ha, and I'm going to deliver a short presentation about our group research. We are Miss Phan Thi Ngoc Thach, Mr. Tran Hoang Anh, and me, Miss Tran Thi Thu Ha. Currently, we are teaching English at Van Lang University, and our research topic is about the importance of translanguaging in improving fluency and speaking ability of non-English major students. In this presentation, we will look at four main parts: introduction, literature review, the case study, findings and implications. Now, let's get started with the first part, introduction. Fluency in speaking English is not only a communicative need, but also a work quest. Therefore, making a foundation and improving the fluency in speaking is a quest in any university program. This is achievable but needs many effort, since the students face many troubles, ranging from their own characteristics, their linguistic level, and their adaptation to a new environment, university level. And translanguaging is considered one of the effective strategies that can contribute to the problem solving. Now, let's move on to literature review. In this part, I'm going to examine the students' speaking abilities, fluency, translanguaging, and motivation. Let's begin with the students. According to Stockholm in 1992, the students' language performance is influenced by many elements. On the basis of social ecological model, and individuals' behavioral choices are affected through the dynamic interplay between individual characteristics such as self-efficacy, self-determined motivation, and knowledge, and environmental features such as campus fitness facility, college and university policy. About speaking difficulties, the students often refuse to practice and speak English in class, partly because of their linguistic background. According to Luki Tasari in 2008, linguistic problems like pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary hinder students from speaking English well in class. Especially with non-majored students who are not familiar with using English at high schools and have no or little interest in English in comparison to their major. According to Thao and Yoon, the most common difficulties that the students were afraid of, including knowledge information about new vocabulary, as well as their pronunciation, grammatical structures, and how to put words appropriately to form sentences while speaking. In addition, psychological difficulties seem to be reluctant factors which may or may not affect students' speaking abilities. However, learning environment-related difficulties did not hinder students from speaking. About individual matters, Park and Lee in 2005 also agree that psychological matters play an important role in affecting students' speaking performance in their studies. Horwitz and Young in 1991 described that anxiety is an obstacle when we are learning foreign language and trying to speak up. There are many definitions of fluency, and some of the outstanding ones are a higher degree of proficiency in English, the fluency of educated native speaker, according to Thomas, 2002. An automatic procedural skill, according to Cashin, Sullivan, and Snyder, in 1989. That is the features which give speech the qualities of being natural and normal, according to Richards and Smith in 2002. According to those definitions, the students can only achieve fluency when they devote time to practice and fulfill their assessment needs. The students can develop fluency by repeating the activity in the limited time constraint, according to Bygate and Samuda in 2005, and Nation in 1989. And there are two steps to develop EIL fluency. Step 1. Teach the students the strategies for handling linguistic and cultural differences in various contexts. Step 2. Encourage the performance of those language in groups, in pairs, task-based activities, so that the students will learn the skills necessary to communicate effectively, according to McKay and Brown in 2016. The students can achieve fluency in speaking faster if they interact and negotiate the meaning during classes. It has been observed that students who interact and speak achieve better in oral skills in most cases than those who always keep silent. According to Namazandos and Hasumi Fadanier Safir in 2019. About translanguaging. Translanguaging is seen as an effective way to motivate the students to speak and partly help them overcome the psychological problem they face and with their low linguistic ability. About the origin. St. William first used the term translanguaging in Wales to refer to pedagogical practice in which English and Welsh were used for different activities and purposes. Then Colin Baker, in 2001, translated the term into English as translanguaging. And in his definition, he refers it to the ability of using the linguistic resources of bilingual people to make the meaning and communicate. The difference with code switching. When the bilingual select and deploy their linguistic feature to communicate, it appears as if they are using two separate codes to communicate. However, code switching preserves named language categories intact. Then translanguaging dismantle named language categories. It means that they learn through social interaction and from which they select and deploy features to make meaning in context, according to Vogel and Garcia in 2017. There are two versions within the translanguaging theory. A weak version of translanguaging to solitude, according to Comyn in 2007. A strong version. The learners build a single linguistic repertoire by selecting appropriate features, according to Odegaard, Garcia, Reid in 2015. Translanguaging pedagogies, interrelated purposes of use. Stance, design, shift, supporting students comprehend content, providing opportunity, develop linguistic practice or academic context, making space, the students' bilingualism, supporting the students' bilingual identities and social emotions development. According to Garcia, Johnson, and Cesar in 2017. In conclusion, a translanguaging pedagogy develops both of the named language that are the object of bilingual instruction, precisely because it considers them a horizontal continuum as a part of learners' linguistic repertoire, rather than separate compartments in hierarchical relationship, according to Vogel and Garcia in 2017. And now let's move on to the case study. In this part, the case study, which includes 5 components: study design, setting, procedure for data collection, measurement of endpoints, participant and sample size will be presented. Firstly, study design. The study was designed as time series investigation, in which 70 sophomores studying English at university, who had already studied 19 in-class periods in Module 1 and 2, were randomly sampled by the cluster sampling scheme. About the setting, they are studying at Van Lang University, English Module 3. In Module 1 and 2, students were supposed to study A2 plus to B1 minus level with 45 in-class periods. In Module 3, the students were supposed to study B1 minus level, also with 45 in-class periods. And now I would like to mention the procedure for data collection. In the first questionnaire was delivered at the beginning of the course with the purpose of diagnosing the student's current level and attitude towards English speaking before the course. In class teaching, teacher instruct and let the student practice using Translanguaging every time they speak, in pairs, groups, in front of a class. The second questionnaire is delivered at the course halfway with the aim of tracking the student's level of speaking English. There are 2 endpoints. The primary endpoint is increasing in students' speaking ability in English. The second endpoint is the increasing in students' confidence in communicating with others, especially with public speaking. The student level is mixed, with the low to medium level of English around A2, and few students with B1 minus level in class. 70 students in 2 classes participate in the first questionnaire and in-class observation, and 69 students participate in second questionnaire. Let's continue with the data analysis. From the first questionnaire, we can see about the students' current level of speaking ability. Students with mixed ability in the study. The majority of them self-evaluate themselves in medium level, about 51.4%, and weak level, about 34.3%, and very weak in 11.4%. Few students self-report themselves in the good level. About their conferences in speaking English, nearly the same result as in the first question. The majority of students are not confident in expressing themselves in English. And about their ways when facing the problems of their incompetence in English fluency. Only 10% of them choose to stop their speech, Nearly 90% of them subconsciously using translanguaging with the use of mother tongue and gesture, posture, and object descriptions. From the questionnaire, the second questionnaire, about the students' confidence in expressing English. Around 82% of the participants report that they are more confident and fairly more confident with their English speaking. There is a minor part, about 17% of the students report that they are still less confident in speaking English. The positive signal is that, in comparison with the start of course questionnaire, none of them report that they are at the lowest point of their confidence scales. About the participants' fluency level, around 73% of the participants report that they have gradual improvement in fluency. However, 25% of students show a vague signal of fluency improvement. Especially, some few students show no upgrading in their fluency level. The results partly shows that using translanguaging can help to increase the student fluency, but it cannot be effective with all the students in achieving their linguistic target. The students' current level is about 80% of students reviews that their fluency is becoming better than their level at the course beginning. Especially, 11.6% of them has approved that they are changing completely better. The consistency of the data in the first, second, and the fourth question of the second questionnaire once again shows that translanguaging can positive results in all of the students. To illustrate this point, it is around 20% of them announced that their level is keeping the same, nearly the same amount of students in the question about their confidence, with 17.4%, and their fluency with 24.6%. However, the data also reveals that translanguaging helps them become more confident, since the percentage of less and the least confident students is lower than that of the less and least fluent ones. About the further practice for continual improvements. When being asked about how to improve their fluency performance, 76.8% of the students say that they will improve their vocabulary and grammar. In other words, their linguistic resources. 44.9% of the participants state that they will improve their levels via interaction and self-studying. 26.1% of the participants state that they will continue using translanguaging to improve their fluency performance. The majority of the students agree that when the student's fluency is developed and improved, they need a real resource, autonomy, interaction, linguistic input for a stable and sustainable development in their linguistic ability, rather than relying heavily on methodical acts such as translanguaging. So that's about data analysis. And now let's move on to the findings part. At the beginning of the course, nearly 4/5 of the students are not fluent, thus not confident in speaking. After halfway through the course, they feel more confident and therefore more fluent in expressing themselves in English. At the point of the second questionnaire, there is about 3/4 of the participants finding translanguaging does much or some help to their speaking levels improvement. Even with those who report that Translanguaging does little or even no help to their speaking levels improvement, they still agree that they have a slight improvement in confidence of expressing, which are believed to lead to a further improvement in their fluency. A half to two-thirds of the students realize that translanguaging is only a temporary way to help them overcome the fear of speaking English and be able to speak better. Therefore, to boost their fluency performance, they need to have learning autonomy, interaction, and improve their linguistic input. From all the findings we got, it is believed that translanguaging positively changed the students' fluency performance. And based on the research findings, the researcher would like to propose several suggestions as follows. For the teachers, with the participants reporting the improvement depending on the student's level to have an adequate of using translanguaging in class. At the beginning of the course or at the student low-level stages, translanguaging should be used more often to encourage the student's confidence. Then, when the confidence is gradually built up, the real input for the fluent performance, such as vocabulary, grammar, should be gradually, continually, and logically added. Moreover, to maximize the student's fluency, it should be combined with the student's self-studying and group or pair studying. With those who report very little or even no positive change in their fluency, there is a need for the teacher to get the students tested, arrange them into extra classes based on that result, providing them extra lessons with more input or repetitive practice. It is also necessary that they be more autonomous in their self-studying and groups or peer interaction. For the researchers, it is suggested that another further time series investigation with the purposes sampling scheme should be done to find out the reasons and therefore suggest some solutions for the restoration in English fluency of the students when studying with the aids of translanguaging. And now are some of our references. That's all about our presentation. Thank you so much for your attention so far.